All right, that's jpeg2RAW photo review number 21. And tonight we're going to go over the 6 finalists from the Best of 17 photo contest. So if you want to join, if you want to come into our photo contest, real easy to come in. You either go to jpeg2RAW/contest or go on over to our one of our Facebook groups. Just search for jpeg2RAW. We have a beginners group and we have a regulars group. You can join either one, whichever one you feel more comfortable in. Join that group and enter. We have people out on Facebook. Willie, I see Willie's out there, and we have Jan and Gary and others on YouTube. We're watching both chats, so if you have questions or comments, do either one out there. All right, let's get started with the first one up. Is this image from Amber Salat.
Why are you doing this one first? That's not number 1. It's number 7 in my list there.
Oh,
Mike, why?
I messed you up. I'm using the presentation where I have them. Do you see the presentation?
Yeah, I'm just totally messing with you because I know you love this.
Wait,
photo.
You had it as number 7. There's only 6.
Yeah, it goes by 5.
I should have got it right there. Yes. Yeah, I am not a fan of spiders, but I did not let that affect me here because I loved whatever those little things are. Those little things you find out in your yard that you step on with bare feet and they hurt your feet. The little things she has there. I think, to me, that really added to the creepiness of this image for me, at least. I think spiders are creepy. Having those things behind it made the image even more creepy.
Yeah. I think I know what those are. They're actually, I think that's something that's dead, and that's what it looks like. It's a flower, but that's what it looks like after it's died. I'm pretty sure. The ends of it look very familiar to me. I can't place it right now. Yeah, I thought this was a cool photo. I think, Amber's, she's come so far, since we first started looking at her stuff in the show. And she's got some entries in next month, which is January, when we get to that, some stuff that I really, really enjoyed, and some things to talk about there too. I think with this one, I like the creepiness of it, I think the spider with the spines and then on the spiny thing, it's just a prickly photo, right? Yeah, so it evokes that kind of feeling, when you look at it. And I think that's always successful when I think everybody gets the same idea from it, Mm-hmm. So I think that's a winning thing. I think I would have liked to see the spider probably a little bit less in the center and targeted, and a little bit more over towards the thirds with some blank space. So it really demanded, you are going to look right at me and I'm looking right at you sort of thing. But that's just compositional stuff we talk about all the time. Tough to do when you're in the field. So that's just something that you want to practice is the basic compositions. And I do it the way I do it. I'll tell you guys, I usually take my images and I crop the heck out of them. So what I'll do is I'll play with them. I'm like, I might not end up with it cropped. I might just learn from this, but I'll crop it to see if I get like maybe a more of a powerful feeling from it. Does it evoke more emotion if it's cropped with a standard crop, or does it have more emotion if it's dead on or straight on? Gary just posted out in the comments. He said he's not a fan of the Dutch angle. I don't think there was a Dutch angle here.
I think it's just the spiders turned.
Yeah, the spider's kind of doing his thing. And for me, the spider being sideways. So the Dutch angle was, in case people don't know, was a term that was used back in the film days. They would tilt the angle. It happened a lot of times. They would do it in rock and roll shots. You'd see a band and it was turned kind of on the angle, 45-degree angle. And the whole idea was to evoke a sort of uneasy feeling. And we didn't know why. It was just to add drama to the shot when there wasn't maybe that drama there, or to give you a sense of over dramatization of the shot. It's a rock band. You want a rock and roll shot, so you do that side, sort of thing. I don't think that's the case here, though. I think this is just a shot straight on, and the spider was doing his thing where he's like, "Yeah, I'll terrorize you even if I'm sideways." But yeah, I like it. I just think the composition. I would have liked to seen probably the spider the way it is. Maybe the spider moved to the right a little bit for something a little different. Now, I know most people would probably say, well, wouldn't you want it moved more to the left? I think here it might have been unique if it was more to the right, just simply because of the background and all the prickly stuff going on. But I just love seeing Amber's shots every year. It's been a year, right, since we've been here. Every month. Because she just is improving every photo she submits, and I really like that.
Yeah, I do too. She submits a lot of good photos, and it basically enters every month. She does do spiders every once in a while, but that's fine. You don't have to not do them. You don't have to not do them just because of me.
That's right. Absolutely not.
All right. Next up is another creature that I like much better as far as the creature goes, and that is this dog by Gordon Ruff.
Yeah. So it struck me right off. And I'm kind of going by my vote notes.
Yeah.
So you guys are going to know, what I voted for or what I didn't or whatever. I thought this was a decisive moment thing where, again, I think I don't necessarily, even though it was shot probably like this for focus issues, one of the things you could do a lot of times with spot focus is move it around. And a lot of times when I'm shooting action, especially like this, I'll move my spot focus to the thirds, and then I'll just make my target in the thirds, and I've got an automatically focused in composition shot. I think that what this shot kind of needs is it needs a portrait crop, first of all, because there's too much fight with the background and the dog being right in the center. The only time we really want to put the subject right in the center is when there's perfect symmetry. So if you had maybe a model standing right in the center, square shoulders, looking directly at you, you could easily put her in the middle of the photo, and it's going to have a certain level of power over the background. But here, the dog is kind of like off to the side a little bit, and it's kind of curved. I really think it would have been better if it was a portrait crop, or move the dog more to the left because the curve kind of curves to the right. Now, with all of that said, those are just ideas when you're out there shooting. I know it's a lot harder than just saying, yeah, you should have done that. You got to learn new things about your camera and try different things and see what speaks to you. Because ultimately, no matter what I tell you guys on this show, and you just said this earlier, Amber, don't stop submitting spiders because of me. And that's a great thing to bounce off. Go out and take pictures of what you like to, take them the way you want to, and shoot them the way you want to. It doesn't matter. Whatever you're comfortable with and what you like is what will make you a photographer. And while I give you all this advice, this is stuff that's worked for me. This is stuff I see that works for other photographers, that I've learned about photography through my struggles and my trials and all of the stuff that I've gone through. I'm a wall banger. So basically, I love to run into the wall multiple times to figure out, like, I shouldn't run into the wall anymore. Maybe I should use the door this time. And so I do that with everything. I'm a trial by fire learner. I basically have to go at it over and over and over again until I can get it worked out in my head. I could have an amazing teacher teach me, and it would still take me forever to figure it out.
Well, some of the things you mentioned, he could have done in post also. He could have tried it in post.
Right.
And see if he liked it. Yeah.
He still can. So this is the thing. Still try those things and just see what you think. And, for me, I think I would have maybe gotten rid of the little piece of grass on the Frisbee. And the biggest thing that bothers me with this photo is the placement of dog parts.
Oh.
And
you wish the Frisbee was a little higher?
Yeah, a little bit. Because the focus is the Frisbee. The dog's looking at the Frisbee.
Yeah.
We're looking at the Frisbee, and it's like right there in your face, man. Yeah. And so for me, that was the thing that beyond all the other things I talk about. It's the decisive moment and getting all the things to line up for you perfectly. A lot of things we miss in the foreground, the background, and the moment of the shot, and that's just me again. Remember, if it doesn't bug you, man, it's your photo. It's what's important to you. So
Gordon shoots a lot of stuff, but he is a great pet photographer. He does a lot of dog photos. I'm sure he does other pets too. But I noticed the dog ones, and he posts a lot of dog ones. So if you're a fan of that, of dog photos, follow Gordon. He does a lot of great work there.
I'll definitely check him out. Yeah. And I mean, technically, shot as far as like the focus and the moment and all the concentration of the dog, all that's perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, so, that's the stuff I'm mentioning here is just, we want to go beyond perfect. If we want to go, into the strategy, the next level with our photos. Yep. It's just suggestions for things to think about when you're in post or out in the field. Yep.
And I should mention, we're going over the best of the 6 finalists for the best of.
That's right.
From the group. And we did already announce the winner back in January and everything. So no shockers tonight. I'll tell you when we get to the winners. So if you missed that show, you'll know which one it is.
Well, you should go out on YouTube and find Mike's channel, Mike Howard. He's on YouTube. Look it up and go watch the show. Yep. I watch all of them, even though I have to be on the show. I watch all of you guys, you and Tim. I love watching you. That's why I'm here, is because of you guys.
Well, thank you. All right, let's move on to the next one. The next one is from Gina Perry.
Hey, Gina.
And if I remember right, I hope I'm right here, that no, I don't remember who was second. So let's forget what I was going to say. But Gina, I love her editing. Her skin, she usually gets great skin tones, and is a fantastic editor. And she is, great photographer.
Yeah, and totally off topic, Mike.
Yeah.
I just want to put this out there. I know you and Tim are having this big health competition.
Fitbit.
Yeah. Gina's kicking your butt.
She is kicking our butt.
Just so both of you guys.
I may be getting a bunch of steps, but the weight is coming off just incredibly slow.
Yep. Yeah, Gina is, wow. Holy cow.
She is really kicking my butt there. Yeah.
Good for her. I mean, that's amazing. And it's so hard to do.
It is.
The first 15 pounds comes off quite easy. And then after that, forget it. It's like a nightmare. And she's just kicked its butt. So good stuff. Yeah, I agree with you. Everything that Gina posts has wonderful tones and technically the focus and everything. She's not submitting anything here. And sometimes I wonder, I'm like, why does she submit? Because I think it's great. Is she looking for some otherworldly thing? I think, Gina, if I had anything, is I would say experiment more with your toning. Don't be afraid to go even farther with the looks and things. But this is a gorgeous photo, and I'm not, I am not a baby photographer. That's not my thing. I've never done it, actually. I don't have kids. I'm one of those guys. I love other people's kids because they go home with them, and it's like I don't have to take care of them. So I bring your kids over. We'll have fun. We'll play. It'll be great. But then go home. Yeah. Don't leave them here. So I'm not good with that, but I know a good photo when I see it, and I think this is an excellent photo. And she just is every time, again, another person who every time she submits, she has an extra wow to her stuff. Yeah,
I've often wondered. I don't know what her relationship with photography is, but I don't think she's a full-time photographer. Often with her skill set, why she, if that's ever an option. I mean, she could open up a studio.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. And I think we've maybe talked about it a couple of times on some past shows, but that's making the leap to making it a sustainable business. That's kind of my jam. That's what I help other folks do. And all I can tell you guys out there, I'll give away my $1 million secret that I charge everybody else for. Hope those people aren't watching and they'll get mad, but is you have to be willing to do everything. You have to be willing. You can't just say, I'm going to be a portrait photographer and make money that way. You can't do it. You got to be willing to teach workshops. You got to have a good website. You got to be willing to travel. You got to do something out of the ordinary, different from everyone else. And when I say different, good luck with that, because it is really, if I guarantee you, you type anything in that you want to shoot in Google, you'll find photos of it already done. And you're going to be like, what the? And they're good photos. They're not just, and whether they're composites or not, you're still going to find them. But don't let that discourage you. It's people who adapt and people who don't spend their time sitting around hemming and hawing over other people and what they're doing. Those people are the people who will be successful at what they do. Encourage others, inspire others, and just be creative. I always say it, stay creative. It's important to be okay with trying different filters. Like on a photo like this, technically it's absolutely perfect, but now go another step with it and try something whacked with it and see maybe a texture looks really amazing here, or who knows? I mean, you got to be willing to go down that rabbit hole to really open up and find your true self there. So,
Yep. All right. Fighting back a cough here. Hold on a second. All right.
Poor guy.
So we're going to move on to the next image. And this one is from Bayarerdene. And he was the winner with this image.
Yes, he was. And he got his copy of Luminar this week, I think.
Awesome.
He should have. At least we sent everything.
I can double check with him. But yes, he was the winner. He won Luminar. He won your all-in-one store from the A.D Wheeler store. And this one, from what I remember, he told us that this is his daughter, and they ran outside, shot in 5 minutes, a single light during a heavy snowstorm. So the snow is real.
Yeah, incredible job on getting light on the face, probably in editing work, along with a light behind. The backlighting is always very dramatic. I'm the guy who left the comment that you said on the show. For me, this shot is gorgeous, only I don't picture a little girl with that look in, like I would have liked to seen her throwing snow up in the air or having fun playing.
Young girly.
Yes.
Yeah. To
me, it's a little on the adult side as far as the pose goes, in the drama goes in the image. But with all of that said, that again, personal opinion, as far as the shot itself, technically there's a reason why this photo won, because it really had, like, all the bells and whistles were there. It was dramatic. The lighting was good. It was well processed after the fact, which is always important. So beyond the subject matter and all that kind of stuff, which is, again, personal opinion, and that doesn't really matter. I've said that time and time before. On the technical merit alone, it got very, very high scores for me. And I didn't take much off for the subject.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it was pretty close to being up in the winning scoreboard for me as well, maybe just by 1 or 2 points. I know that it was very close. So,
and he has her a little bit off center too. So,
it's perfect. Yeah. The tree works well. It's a very kind of fairy tale kind of look to it. And I like all of that. So it's an excellent job, and great job getting your daughter out there and having her ready to go. Because most kids, I know, that would take hours to make happen.
Yeah, I can't tell from their expression whether she is likes this and think it's cool, or whether she's upset with him. It looks like she's liking it, and it
just seems like
she thinks it's a cool
attitude
thing to do.
Yeah. So she's got kind of the attitude look on. And for me, and that made me a little uncomfortable in the image. So that was why, like I said, technically and everything else, it's perfect. So excellent shot and nice work, and well deserved the win for sure. And I know it was very close between that and a couple other photos too.
Yeah. And one of those other photos that it was close with is the next one up from Greg Crosdale.
Yes, my shooting friend.
And I remember that he's actually, the best of 17, you can take any image you took in 17 and enter. And this was one he had entered earlier in the year. That was just, we did a show on it, I believe. And if I remember right, you had some feedback for him on some edits he could have done. And I think he went back and did them.
Yeah. As far as I can tell, that's exactly what he did. The image itself was a great, was a great moment. I think the one suggestion that I had for him that I didn't do on the show was like, why didn't you take your drone up and get like, you know,
a different
shot
angle?
from the
Yeah.
a shot from the air with these clouds and everything. He says like, yeah, I didn't really have time. He goes, it was there and gone in just under a couple of minutes. And so it was one of those things where he just walked outside. And I've said this to a lot of people, and we've talked about it on the show. You could plan to visit the Grand Canyon for every single summer from now till the end of time, and plan a whole week there every time and go there, and you might get maybe 1 or 2 shots that are pretty poppin', but you'll never get a shot as good as the guy who lives a mile away.
Right.
Because he sees it every day, and he's there for the special events, like the time that the fog filled up the Grand Canyon and everybody, got those shots of the Grand Canyon being filled with like a big pool of fog. And this is the thing. Learn your environment around where you're at and find your spots and check them and watch. And when you have a moment like this, get that camera and run, because you're going to get a shot like this. It's amazing. And I just thought it looked like the barn. I said, hope this never happens to your barn, Greg, but it looks like your barn's on fire. I mean, it's just amazing. I told him I call it barn on fire. And it just looks awesome. So yeah, good job all the way around.
I think he called it, I see the fire in the sky. I think that's what he called it.
Yeah, fire in the sky.
Fire in the sky, yeah. Awesome entry there, Greg. Yep. And then last up is, where's my mouse? Hold on. Is this one from Daryl Harrington, who I love his landscape photos. He has been with us for a long time, but doesn't always get to enter. So I'm glad he got to enter here in this final competition of the year. This is a landscape photo. I mean, a photo of, does he tell me which mountain? Banff National Park?
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Jasper, Banff.
Banff, yeah.
Yep. That was where we were supposed to go on vacation last year. Now it's going to be moved up. I think we're going to do it in 2019. We're actually not going anywhere in 2018 because we just spent way too much money on a house. So, but yeah, I had my feedback on this photo was angle. It's all about the angle. And what I wanted to see, for me, the story is the lone tenter out there with the valley and the mountains and the beautiful long exposure sky. All of that technically looks great. For me, I would have tried to lower the angle of my camera so that highway wasn't there. So if he would have lowered it down, he could have used the tree line to hide the highway. So even though it was there, you would still have all those elements without the fact that they're very close to civilization, which that to me isn't the story of the image. Yeah. Now, maybe it is for Daryl, and that's fine. But for me, I always like to take, when I'm taking photos, especially if I'm featuring human stuff in a photo, like the tent, which is man-made, I want to make that the only man-made thing, because right now I got a man-made tent and I got a man-made town and stuff, and then I have this land, and to me it's like too much man-made. For me, I like to break it down into more simple things like the tent and the mountains and the sky. But
what about the shadow, the darkness at the lower left?
Well, I did make a comment about lightening that up a little bit. We always want to be very careful with including any contrasts in the corners of our images, because naturally it will draw your eye away from your subject matter. So you would use your post-processing here to maybe lighten that grass up a little bit. You could have probably even cloned it out if you wanted to go extensive, but I think you could have toned it enough so that it would have been a little lighter like the rest of the grass that's there. Not, you don't have to do it extreme. It's just got to be a little bit. You got to make sure that there isn't a blocky, contrasty thing going on in the corner. And finally, the last thing is it kind of seems to me like the horizon is tilted a little bit lower on the left than it is on the right. It's very slight, but it kind of looks like it's kind of tilting.
How do you tell? That's a good question. A good comment, because the land could be sloping where we see here, and of course there's mountains in the background.
Right, trees grow straight up usually. especially conifers, will grow straight up.
Okay.
So I see quite a few trees kind of going this way. And this one tree that's right here in frame seems to be leaning a little bit. Now, it could be because he's got his angle of his lens. But the other thing I also compare it with, and sometimes you have to sometimes the horizon isn't where you think. But if you look long at the mountain way in the distance, you can almost get an idea of the horizon line.
Okay.
So if you look at that mountain that's in between the other two mountains, and you kind of triangulate those three mountains together, you kind of get a line going through there.
Okay.
So you look at where the mountains flatten out to the valleys on each side and where it flattens out at the bottom, and you can see that it kind of has a little bit of a tilt to it.
Interesting.
And if this is the other thing too. Anybody has any questions about, the comments that I make and they want to see a difference and see where please feel free to ask in the group or ask me personally. You can message me or whatever. And I'm more than happy to do an edit and show you guys what I mean. Because I'm not very good orator when it comes to, explaining things. Sometimes people kind of look at me like, what's that guy thinking? What's in his brain? Or they look at it differently than I am. So, yeah.
I think you do a great job with it. But yes, if you have a question for AD, message him directly, or what I would prefer, if you feel comfortable doing it, is post it in a group so the rest of us can benefit from the question and the answer. And when I say the group, I mean either the beginner group on Facebook or the regular group, either one. Yeah,
it all comes down to your level of how comfortable you are with that. If it's something you feel is a private thing and you don't want to put it in front, that's fine. But as Mike says, and I agree with him, if you're okay with just posting it out there and saying, hey, AD, would you do this? Would you give me a review? Do it. I will, I would rather save them for the show. But I'm more, I don't usually criticize images. I kind of have a strict criteria for doing a critique on an image. So I need to have a lot of information from people. So if you just want to do a casual thing, putting it on the show, then that's usually the way to go. We still ask you to tell us why you push the shutter button and what you were going for, but it's a little bit more casual here. If you want like a full-blown critique, then that's a long kind of process with me. So, but if you have questions about what I talked about on the show, definitely put those either, in a message or put them, or message me personally, either way.
Yep. Or if you just have a general question, hey, you'd like us to cover in a future show, put that in either one of the groups too, or email me at podcast@jpeg2RAW, email me or put it in the groups and we'll cover it on the show too.
All right. Absolutely. Because we always need content. That's our thing. Like, we don't want to talk about the same thing over and over again. And that's easy to do when we do so many of these shows. So we rely on you guys to give us ideas.
Yep. All right. Well, that was the last image. So as we head out, I wanted to go over to, let's see if I did this right. Yeah. Go over and mention to, if you're not already, to go over to, what is it? Patreon.com/thecreators.
Or thecreators.com actually takes you straight.
Okay. Yep. Creators.com also takes you there. And this says, I think I'm not logged in. Because I'm actually a supporter. I've never said that publicly, but, this makes it look like I'm not. I'm actually a supporter because I enjoy AD's his content that he puts out there. So if you want to support AD, go over to thecreators.com and consider becoming a supporter. I've been watching a lot of your Adobe Premiere videos over on YouTube, which I think you post here first,
yes.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I missed them when you posted them there.
Yep.
And so I try and catch them here first. If I miss them, I go over there. So I've been watching those, and even though I use Premiere on a regular basis, I still learned a few things from watching it.
So one of the things that we do on Patreon is you actually get to hang out live while I do these recordings. That's what you get as a Patreon member. So I actually post on the Patreon page. You get an email that says, hey, we're going live it's usually Monday nights. Mm-hmm. We'll go live and you can interact with me during the show. So you can ask questions. You can say, hey, AD, can you cover this particular topic? Because I don't know how to do this. And boom, right on the spot, we do it. And then I turn that into a video that you can watch on YouTube, but you don't get to interact because I'll be honest with you. while I answer a few questions on YouTube, I really don't look at the comments all that much because it can be a nightmare to look at.
Yeah.
So interacting live, though, with people who support my channel, and for as little as $1 a month. Now, I will tell you, Mike is so gracious to mention this every time, and I tell him he doesn't have to do this, but he does anyway. Don't become a supporter right now. And the only reason I'm saying that is, I mean, you can do what you want. That's up to you. But I am going to be gone for a month, and there will be little to no content from me because the only thing that will be left here at the house will be a laptop until I can get everything moved to the new studio and the new house. And we're not only moving to a new studio, but we have a 1,700 square foot studio / entertainment area that we have to build. So it's not just we're moving into a brand new house and then we have to build this whole other thing too. So it's going to be a while before I'm putting out live, content that's generated specifically for people. But I can guarantee you guys, when I do come back, it's going to be a nice studio. It's going to look great, and the content will be better because of all of that. So.
I was watching one of the videos last week where you even restarted because somebody showed up late.
Yeah, I do that.
Which I thought, because I watched it after the fact, I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. You weren't an hour into it. You were a little bit into it, but you went back and restarted, which was awesome.
Yeah, as long as it's within reason, and everybody's cool with it. And that's the thing about the community that we have over there. It's much like the jpeg2RAW community. Everybody kind of supports everybody else, and it's cool people. So, and there's always good-natured ribbing and all that kind of stuff. But it's a safe community where you don't have to worry about, saying like, I can't figure out how to get this mic to work or something, because chances are everybody else in the community is like, oh, I probably can learn something from this, or maybe I didn't know something about, the mic I'm using or the camera that I'm using or something. So, yeah.
All right. Well, AD, thank you. And if you want to get this, if you want to get this show, you can come live. Like we have Jan and Gary and Willie and Dave and Lewis and Greg and Timothy and Tim. All out there in either Facebook or YouTube. But if you can't make it live, we do record it and put it out on YouTube and put it out on iTunes, so you can get it either place. And I do not have it on Podbean yet, but I'm thinking about that. Podbean has been a place that's been growing a lot for us lately. So if you missed the show, like I think Tim showed up a little bit late. If you missed the show, I recorded it for you, and you can get the recorded version. The live version on YouTube will stay on YouTube. I think I just put it into a different playlist, and I think the Facebook one is out there too. The recorded version I do, and the published version, I chop off the post-show and the pre-show. So we'll be doing another one of these depending on the AD's schedule, but we have a number of them that we have set up for the future, so we'll be watching out for them. We're going to be doing them Sunday nights as AD's schedule allows. He's got a lot going on with the move. So let's head into post-show. Until next time, keep shooting.